Hello and welcome to France 24's weekly music show. I'm Marjorie Hash and I'm delighted to welcome acclaimed Israeli-American violinist Guy Braunstein, who not only developed a solo chamber music career, but also officiates as the Berlin Philharmonic Orchestra concertmaster. Now, always up for a musical challenge, Guy has decided to revisit the work of the Beatles. In the past, he's tackled the White Album's Blackbird, but it's the Abbey Road Concerto that he's just has on offer in his new record. Guy, thank you so much for joining us in the France 24 studios.
With big pleasure.
It's great to have you, and I'm really excited to talk about this because obviously, as a classical musician, you're no stranger to revisiting the works of past musicians and groups. But I was wondering, how does one go from Bach, for example, to the Beatles?
Is there a difference?
I don't know.
I don't know either. I remember watching an interview by Paul McCartney where a taxi driver told him, that's Mozart, that's the high art, it's not for you.
Oh.
And he said, okay. I mean, and he said he never really noticed the difference, and neither did I. For me, there are only two genres of music: good music and bad music. That's it. And the Beatles and Stevie Wonder, they belong there with Beethoven or Debussy or Bach or whatever.
And some of the greats.
Yeah. I mean, I just, for me, it's all one world, and I just try to go fishing for the best part of it.
And I read that what drove you to this was your son kind of going through his first Beatlemania phase. Tell us a bit more about that.
Yeah, no, I mean, one day he comes home and he saw John Lennon High School for the Arts or something in Berlin on the way, and he asked me, Papa, who is John Lennon? So, make a long story short, I explained to him, I showed him some clips, John Lennon, the Beatles, whatever. What a terrible mistake. That was a severe Beatlemania, only Beatles at home. We were talking Beatles, hearing Beatles. Breathing Beatles.
And you never got sick of the Beatles?
Look, I mean, for me it was the revival of an old story. I mean, I grew up with the Beatles, but he would, every time I would pick up my violin and practice my Bartók violin concerto for the coming tour, he was saying, stop this crap, play Beatles for me. So he would just shoot names of songs and I would do my best.
And how old is he?
He's now 11,
Okay.
but then he was 6. You know exactly the age that you capture something and you just don't let go.
Yeah.
And so I started as a joke, taking some Beatles songs and making a solo violin like jokes or encores out of it. Then came the COVID-19 pandemic. And had plenty of free time. And I said, let's find one of the late Beatles songs and do it with piano.
Yeah.
So I played some of the last albums, and I remember one evening I decided today I'm listening to Abbey Road, the whole album.
Yeah.
And I said, oh shit, I like them all.
Oh, well, how about we take a little listen to one of the tracks? This is
Sure.
Oh Darling from the Abbey Road Concerto. Taken from the Abbey Road Concerto. Now, Guy, can you imagine Ringo and Paul McCartney listening to this? Or have they listened to this and reacted?
I had no way of making contact with either of them. I don't know them. I think somebody should tell them that they composed the violin concerto. It's time for them to know that.
How hard was it for you to rearrange this? Because the beauty of the Beatles is the simplicity sometimes of their melodies. So how hard was it for you to readapt, or did that come just so naturally?
It just comes without thinking about it. Mm-hmm. It's as a pure thing that goes from your inside to the outside and backwards. It's as simple as it gets. Mm-hmm. Of course, writing this is a very complicated issue.
Why?
Because I didn't like to make this kind of wiggy-waggy crossover violinist, like, you know, there are many like that. Mm-hmm. I wanted to really take the color and the original nature of this music and interpret them as a totally classical work.
Oh, well, you seem to have done that very successfully, I think. I had a question as well, because I don't know if you've noticed there's a lot of period drama coming on streaming platforms. I think of Bridgerton, where they revisit, you know, with classical instruments, pop songs of today. I don't know if you've watched that series. What do you think? You know, it could be like hip hop's Usher or Beyonce revisited that in that sort of genre.
I listen to all kinds of music, mm-hmm. and whenever something catches me and teases me to try to redo this using my violin or a symphony orchestra, mm-hmm. I do. Of course, not every type of music is suitable for a classical way or for a classical violin. Mm-hmm. Like, for example, you know, when I was growing up, I was crazy about Led Zeppelin. Mm-hmm. Until today, I adore their music, but there is not much I can do with the violin or a symphony orchestra. Mm. This is just another animal.
Yeah. And who would you like to revisit? You know, you've done a bit of the Beatles already, but is there anyone else that you're curious to look at?
I think I was born very curious, and I'm going to die very curious. Uh-huh. And I do a lot of arrangements and adjustments for a lot of pop music, but a lot of also classical music. You know, okay. I play Puccini or Dvorak or Tchaikovsky operas and arias that I conducted.
Yes.
And found myself jealous at the singer, so I adapted that. So why not do it with, you know, next week I'm going to play a couple of Billy Joel songs for violin and piano.
Well, I love the variety and the fact that you're able to bridge all different genres. It's great. It shows it's very good musicianship. We're going to look up some new releases. Maybe there's some that you might be interested in covering or revisiting yourself.
Shoot.
Yeah. So we're going
Challenge me.
So we're going to start off with someone who's just released an album. It's the return of Bon Jovi, the 80s band with beautiful hair, are back with their 14th studio album entitled Forever, featuring this track, which is called Legendary.
Legendary.
And singer John Bon Jovi is unsure whether his vocal cords are currently able to handle stadium tours like he used to. If you're not a fan of Bon Jovi, do note that there's a documentary entitled Thank You and Good Night that's available on Hulu or Disney Plus. Now, Guy, Bon Jovi are famous for their track Living on a Prayer. Is that one that you could imagine doing on violin?
I was considering, but I just don't think it would be interesting enough. Interesting enough for what I would be able to pronounce using the tools that I have. Yeah.
So we'll see. What about Manu Chao, who's our next
try.
So he's a French artist who has just dropped a new song. It's his first in 17 years.
Whoa.
Manu Chao rose to fame in the 1980s with his band La Mano Negra and garnered a huge international following as a solo artist, thanks to songs like King of the Bongo and Me Gustas Tu. His new song is an ode to love and solidarity. It's called Viva Tu. Let's take a look at the video.
Viva tu. Viva tu, viva tu, viva tu la mare, viva tu.
So this one a bit more complicated or more enticing?
No, I think it's kind of, it could be a challenge.
That would
could
be one to
it could
do.
be a challenge. You know, I think it's doable. I
Doable.
think it's doable. Yeah.
Well, yeah, no,
Could be a
another
challenge.
And while we wait for Manu Chao's next album, please note he'll be touring small festivals around Europe, which highlights the fact that he still much prefers human-sized events. You've got a lot of tours coming up, especially in the autumn. I think you're going to China, you've got Europe, so that's a good chance to catch you with your Abbey Road Concerto.
Right, yeah. Going to China, going to America, going all over Europe. I'm going to do the first edition of Abbey Road in the UK.
Oh, wow. That's pressure.
Yeah, with the City of Birmingham Symphony Orchestra. Mm-hmm. No, that's not pressure.
Oh, no pressure.
That's not pressure.
You recorded
no.
in Abbey Road as well, this Abbey Road Concerto, which is quite something to we pointed out. But I'm afraid that's all we've got time for because the news bulletin is coming up in just a few minutes. Guy, thank you so much for coming on the show to tell us about...
I see you next time.
Yes, absolutely.
I'm not done with you.
100%. Still loads more to talk about. And remember to check out his fantastic Abbey Road Concerto. The latest France 24 news is coming up, as I was saying. And to wrap up the show, we've got Eminem's latest music video, which dropped at the weekend. Houdini is one of the first tracks taken from his up-and-coming album, The Death of Slim Shady, and sees him battle with his white trash alter ego of his early days with parodies of previous videos and featuring Dr. Dre and 50 Cent.
I'm about to reach in my back, bruh. Abracadabra. Poof, just like that, and I'm back.